peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Miriam Mugutu, and the show is The People's Court. And as I said there earlier, today is International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day there to every woman watching this broadcast here today. And as we know, the International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also is marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity. And according to the United Nations, nearly 60% of women around the world work in the informal economy, earning less, saving less, and at great risk of falling into poverty. And according to also United Nations, women earn 23% less than men globally, and also women occupy only 24% of parliamentary seats worldwide. So this is not a problem that is unique to Kenya, because it is something that we're grappling with, and the BBI has some proposals there in how this is supposed to be effectively addressed. And also 1 in 3 women have experienced physical and sexual violence, and 200 million of women have suffered genital mutilation. So an array of issues there, as has been captured by the United Nations. So to help me out in this conversation this morning, I'm joined by Professor Jared Onyari. Professor, very good morning to you. Okay, so we shall be waiting for Professor to join us in a very short bit, and even as the rest of the panelists join us this morning, Prof shall be joining us there. So we know, let's see what the BBI says. The entrenched gender inequality in the country, where women feel marginalized and in elective positions and decision-making may finally find a solution in the BBI report there, as I've mentioned there earlier. So in the bridge report of the steering committee of the implementation of the Building Bridges Initiative to a United Kenya, a task force, this is the latest report there that was released in October 2020, and I think we went a bit into it, a bit of it, we looked at it on the show. So under inclusivity, the BBI has been able to address the issue of women, and let's just see what the BBI says about women and girls, just a bit of it before I bring in my panelists this morning. The steering committee was struck by the deep and widespread feeling of exclusion and marginalization among the women of Kenya, who felt that mainstream social, cultural, and political arrangements prevent them from fully accessing their rights under the Constitution. A specific concern of stakeholders was the entrenched political marginalization, and particularly the lack of implementation of the 2/3 gender rule. To correct this and a wide range of other issues, women have made the following proposals. A. Adoption of a political representation system to implement 2/3 gender rule in Parliament. B. Ensuring the executive structure of the country adheres to the 2/3 gender rule. C. Creation of strict monitoring system in the implementation of the 2/3 gender rule and execution of sanctions for compliance. D. Implementation of Section 2B of the Basic Education Amendment Act 2017 on the provision of free, sufficient, and high-quality sanitary towels to girls in public basic education schools, and I do 100% support that. And E, the last point, fast tracking the enactment of the Menstrual Health Management Bill and upscaling of funding for social protection to protect our children from teenage pregnancies, early marriages, and sexual gender-based violence. All right, so we have a lot to talk about this morning, and how the BBI is set to address the issue of gender inequality, among other issues that plague our women or concern our women in in this country. And as we have seen there, according to the United Nations, only 24% of women are in parliament worldwide. So as I said, this is not a problem that is unique to Kenya. So joining me this morning is Jeven Karanja, all the way from Nanyuki. Jeven, a very good morning to you.
Indeed, it's a very good morning to you, Miriam, and good morning to our viewers wherever they are watching us from. Thanks for having me on the show.
Okay, very well. And we are also about to be joined by Musa Abdi Haji, who will be joining us from Isiolo. Once he's able to join us, I'll have us know. I don't know if Professor has already joined. Not yet, but when the two join, then we shall continue. Musa, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam. Thank you for having me, and thank you to all our viewers also. Thank you.
All right, very well. So let's just start, with the problem that you're already grappling with on this International Women's Day. United Nations says women occupy only 24% of parliamentary seats worldwide. Why do you think this is so? Because that seems to be the same problem we're having here, and yet women happen to be the majority. Javen.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam, and happy International Women's Day to you and to other women around the world. Miriam, we are in existence of this world because our women brought us in this world. Therefore, we are happy for them and for the good works that they are doing. Miriam, we know even in our families, our mothers do a lot of things to ensure that their kids have access to education and other basic needs that they need. They make sure that their kids are well sorted out. Therefore, it's indeed a very a big day. Miriam, on the issue of politics and representation, I think women should do a lot to ensure that they get to this position of representation, Miriam, because Miriam, we have seen even in developed world countries like US, where they failed to have a woman as a president in 2016. This shows that, Miriam, a lot of issues hinder women upward mobility into these big political offices. One, Miriam, I think it's our culture, because, Miriam, the way we have been made to think, everything is dominated by men. Especially politics. When you go to church, when you go to the religious institutions, you see men are given a priority, and I think that is how they end up dominating even in the political and leadership areas. Therefore, I think the way we have been set our minds is that we have seen men being dominant, Miriam. When you look at the Bible, because for Christians, you see men being given a big priority. The first creature, according to the theory of creation, was Adam, a man. Therefore, from the onset, Miriam, we see men being dominant. That is why we are calling for a gender equality, where women also should be given a right also to be in this position of leadership. We also look at the issue of Miriam. Women have been made to think their rightful position is being in the house, tendering to their husbands and their children and giving birth. But that should not be the case. Therefore, we need to create a lot of awareness around the country, around the world, so that people will see women as equal partners, as equal to a man, so that we can also see them as capable of doing all things that men can do. Because, Miriam, they keep saying that what a man can do, a woman can do better, but that has not come to play in terms of leadership. In our country, Miriam, we are struggling to meet the 2/3 gender representation, and we have seen even women themselves failing the same gender rule. Therefore, we need also to see women supporting other fellow women, because it said that women are their enemies number one. Therefore, women should support each other and ensure that they stand for each other, so that they can also elevate one another. Because it seems like when one woman goes up, other women feel beat and they try by all means to bring her down. Therefore, that mentality should come to to a terminal end. Therefore, Miriam, all things are said and done. Women can do better. We have seen women in position of leadership today. We have we have two governors in this country, and in 2013, Miriam, we had none. Therefore, we are making a progress in realizing and making women a big part when it comes to leadership. And Miriam, I see in future we having a deputy president, a woman. And in future, Miriam, maybe in Africa, in East Africa, Miriam, we might be the first country to have a president who is a woman. Therefore, all these things put it together. Let's all ensure that we support our women. And Miriam, the most important thing is to ensure women are protected from harmful traditions like FGM, to ensure women are given equal access to education, to ensure women are given equal rights in employment. That will ensure them they get into these positions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And even in a very advanced democracy like the United States, they've never had a woman for president, but for the first time they did have a first vice president there in the name of Kamala Harris, who's now the current vice president. And we saw also internationally, the World Trade Organization had its first female and African Director General, Ngozi Okonjo, also proved to many naysayers that women can rise if given a chance there. Musa, 24% of parliaments across the world, only that is the number of women representing it, and yet we have so many women are the majority worldwide. Why do you think this is so?
Thank you, Miriam, for having me on the show. First of all, I'd like to say a very big shout out to all our mothers and sisters out there who are doing meaningful things and resourceful things is earth and even in Kenya. I say thank you. Miriam, as far as issues of women and that 24% representation is concerned, I will go by the precedence of African culture and the precedence that in our pre-colonial and even in our olden days, women were used to be taken, or they were definitely taken to be as toys for leisure and pleasure and enjoyment in the community. They were only termed as medium, never termed as something sourceful, which can help in the community. Look at even the current African culture, Miriam, we are facing as a country and even as a continent. Women are seen to be more people who can only give birth and who can only push for recreation, and they shouldn't be engaging on any other issues. That is as far as African precedence is concerned. And that is why even when you speak about politics, in the older African political culture, Miriam, is even in the Council of Elders, women are the ones who are excluded. Men are the ones who are making decisions. Even in times of raids, warriors fighting, communities, engaging in decision-making process, men are the ones who are dominant. And that has translated in how our political representation has been put into perspective. We tend to see those people who make decisions in the society are the ones who are now even inflicting the same delineation and exclusion, which is not in line with the Constitution of Kenya, Miriam. Definitely, we have underlying issues, facing our women. We have female genital mutilation, Miriam, issues which is really spanning across many counties in Kenya. We also have issues to do with that narrative that men masculinity are the ones who are fit to lead, Miriam. We also encounter a lot of issues of, reproductive health, Miriam. I'm speaking reproductive health here, the issues of maternal health, Miriam. Mortality rates, maternal deaths are still high in some areas of this county, Miriam. So when all these are facing you, when the basic things you want to afford as a woman is facing you and you cannot be able to attain them, then I think political achievement can be hard, Miriam. When basic issues of health, basic issues of your right being heard at home poses a big problem. Then going into a macro levels of leadership and engagement can be a bit unhealthy, Miriam. And to put this into perspective, religion also has something to do with this misinterpretation, Miriam. Look at our churches and our mosques. Our churches, all the cardinals and all the leaders you can only see a woman in the choir, Miriam. And even as far as that is concerned, when you go home, the time a child spends with most in terms of advice, parental coaching, and parental caring is a mother, Miriam. So I know African culture has really been unfair as this is concerned. We need to take a paradigm shift. And the 24% representation, Miriam, I can allude that to the fact it's just the other day, Miriam, even international organizations came with initiatives to help women, the formation of United Nations Women, the International Women League, issues of ensuring, a third gender rule, a two-third gender rule, balancing here and there, Miriam. That is what even the documents such as BBI is really advocating for, the issues of, two-third gender rule and balancing. And I believe, as a special group, that is youth, women, and people living with a disability, we are going somewhere. At least for the first time, for the very rare time in Kenya, we are seeing, different political dynamics coming into play, Miriam. We have governors, we have senators who are women. Even the political nominations, which used to be male-dominated since time of independence, Miriam, whereby party nomination is usually carried by the main part, is really coming to an end. For the first time, we are having the registrar of political parties, Ms. Ndungu, being a woman, Miriam. You've spoken about Okonji, the lady who is now in charge of World Trade Organization. So I believe we are moving somewhere, Miriam. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Musa Abdi Haji. Now, the 2010 Constitution is framed around the ideology of equality, human dignity, and inclusion, with the central pillar being the sovereignty of the people, who are both men and women. It guarantees their equal participation and representation in every sphere. To deny women their constitutional guaranteed rights is to entrench the practice of exclusion, marginalization, and discrimination. So we've seen, Parliament, as it is right now constituted, it's quite much illegal, going by the Kenyan Constitution, and even the former Chief Justice David Maraga pointed that out to President Uhuru Kenyatta when he wrote that letter asking him to dissolve Parliament because it has failed to meet the threshold of the Constitution of having the two-thirds gender rule. But we know even with the coming of the Constitution 2010, there was, it came with the 47 women representatives from every county in this country. And I don't know whether it will be fair to judge how they've been conducting business issues there in Parliament. But I don't know. Do you think by having these 47 women in Parliament, we've been able to see a bit of any changes in Parliament in how some issues are debated upon, especially those affecting women, Karanja? Jivan? Okay, we seem to be having a problem there with Jivan. I don't know if Professor has joined us. Professor, good morning, if you can hear me. The Professor's not there, so I'll just go back to Musa there. Do you think the 47 women representatives that we've been having in Parliament there have made any impact so far?
Thank you, Miriam. I think as far as representation and impact is concerned on issues of women, the 47 women representatives in Kenya, Miriam, when women representative position was formed, I think it was aimed to bring at par and to achieve that inequality gap, Miriam, with what we are experiencing against, gender issues in this country. 8 years down the line, Miriam, what I've seen and I've observed is that the position of women rep have been turned political, Miriam. What I mean by political, it has been turned in a phenomenon whereby these women leaders are really focused on issues of political precedences of this country than purely representing issues of women and inequality at their households, Miriam. What am I speaking? I'm yet to see, just the other day, President Uhuru Kenyatta really pushed under his office to have signed an MOU with Samburu Council, Samburu women leaders to end, FGM issue and its eradication by 2022. Why have we not seen that among Millie Odhiambo? Why have we not seen that with Gladys Sholei? They have been politicking, and they think that, by putting that political precedences with their fellow men counterparts, they are achieving political issues. So we've seen the office being misrepresented and yet being legally represented in the constitution. I'm yet to see, Miriam, the issue of free sanitary pads was pushed by President Uhuru Kenyatta. It was never pushed by these women leaders in parliament, Miriam. And let us be sincere in this. We are seeing women representatives being so engaged with issues which are not adding substances to improving women empowerment issues in their region. Come to the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, Miriam, which allocates 7 million Kenya shillings per constituency. Those monies have been channeled to other unconventional areas of duplicating national government projects, Miriam. I'm seeing a women rep trying to build a school. These are projects which are aimed to be done by members of parliament. Why can't they ensure that no girl is dropping out of school? Issues of sanitary and menstrual health is really well catered for. They should even pass a syllabus, Miriam. The issue of rape and the issue of sexual abuse is really becoming a norm. Look at the music we are producing in this country, whereby women are portrayed as vixens and are portrayed as sex toys. Are they passing such kind of bills to ensure that even the dignity of these girls are protected, Miriam? The answer is no. So I'm seeing, in terms of legal enrichment of protecting women agenda and women issues in this country is concerned, I'm yet to see a typical Wangari Maathai here, Miriam.
Okay.
These women leaders have really let down Professor. May her soul rest in peace, Miriam. When Professor Wangari Maathai was in charge of the Green Belt Initiative, we could see women being empowered by the nemesis of their environment, by the nemesis of reproductive health. And when Professor Wangari Maathai could stand and speak in parliament, she could not be taken for a toy or taken, or downgraded, Miriam. What am I? I'm simply meaning the likes of Sabina Chege and the likes of, Kajuju and the likes of Gladys Cholei, Miriam. They are not doing their job.
Okay.
There was a time we were seeing the likes of Martha Karua, Miriam, Professor Wangari Maathai, Beth Mugo. When those ladies were standing in for women, you could feel the purge for respect. So they are not earning this, Miriam. Thank you.
Okay, very well. And a lot of times, I see Douglas Kirimi has also joined us. A lot of times, our women representatives there have been referred to as flower girls, meaning they don't bring so much into the house. I'm not sure. I don't know, what is your position on that, Douglas? Douglas, can you hear me?
Yes, Miriam. I have some itch here. Your question again?
Okay. All right. Let's just pay attention, because a bit of fish like that, sometimes it's technological, but sometimes if you don't pay attention, it becomes a problem in the flow of the show, please. What I was saying is the 47 women representatives, as we've seen, a lot of times they've been castigated, being even called flower girls and being accused of not doing so much in their position there in parliament. I don't know, how can you rate how they've been performing in parliament? Okay, we have serious problems there. Please sort out your signal. When you've been able to do that, you can tune us and we can continue with this conversation. I'll just go straight to Jeven Karanja. Jeven, what's the same question?
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. One, let me say that the position of women representative was there to empower women, and especially to ensure that we have women who champion for the interest of women. But Miriam, what we have in this country is women rep who champion for things that don't add value to the interest or to what affects the women of this country. Therefore, to me, the initiative was good, but along the way, the people who were elected to represent the women, they changed the mandate and they started representing themselves, representing their political interest, representing political demigods. Therefore, we ended up having women who are not fully represented. Miriam, when you go around the country, women are number one champions that the seat of women representative to be scrapped because it's not living to its task, it's not living to its mandate. Therefore, Miriam, we need to wake up, and when we elect women, let's go for those who are honest, Miriam. I think for the two general elections, 2013 to 2017, maybe you are not quite sure what a women rep were to be. But now, Miriam, with the advocacy, awareness, Kenyans know why we have women representative. Therefore, as we go on, as we go through the BBI, I have seen it is quite extensive in terms of ensuring women are represented and they have their things sorted out. I think that should be a more important, but most importantly, Miriam, Kenyans should understand why we need more women into this position of leadership. Miriam, we have the kitty, the Women Affirmative Action amount that goes to women representative to ensure they uplift the livelihoods of girl child. But Miriam, we have still in our midst seen girls who are not going to school because they lack towels and sanitary pads, Miriam. This is so sad. This is sickening, and our women representatives should wake up from the slumber and champion for the interest of girl child and ensure that their rights are protected, ensure they access education, ensure they are protected from harmful cultural practices like the FGM, and to fight for space of women. I think that should be the role of women representative. But what we have, they are not really on that mandate to ensure that women are representative. Therefore, Miriam, I foresee a situation whereby we need to go and to have women who will stand for the interest of women and for the interest of this community, especially in matters of education and in matters ensuring that girl child and women at large, they are getting the maendeleo ya wanawake and other organizations are well funded to ensure these women get access to loans to start small businesses, because at the end of the unempowered women, they say is an empowered society. Therefore, that should be the case, that women should be empowered so that we empower our society in general. And they should not be misused, Miriam, because you have seen when it comes to the politics, if there are a number of people who are misused, apart from the youths, are our women. They are caught, they get a packet of unga and some shukas and the t-shirts, and that is the case, and they end up voting that candidate. Therefore, women should also understand that they have the numbers and they can champion for a cause, Miriam, and to be heard and to be respected, they need to stand united and to stand strong and to stand against all forms of intimidations, blackmail that are channeled toward the gender of women. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chief Karanges. So we know that the women agenda is one of the key questions that the BBI proponents seek to address as a key constituency to the passage of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020. And so the BBI proposes the country elects 94 senators. By the way, the position of the women rep will be scrapped. And now there is the BBI proposes the country elects 94 senators, with each county electing one man and one woman. The report seeks to delete Article 98(1)(a), which pegged the number of senators to 47. The team further proposes that the scrapping of the seats of the 16 members nominated by political party. In another step to cure the gender imbalance in the National Assembly, it was recommended that a 360-member House, where 290 will be elected by the people in the constituencies and another 70 will be filled by parties. The additional 70 seats will be allocated on the strength of the actual votes per county and will be distributed among youth, women and people with disability. Now, the women here seems to be having a chance to have the 35 out of the 70 additional seats. That is according to the BBI proposal. Will we finally be able to achieve the elusive 2/3 gender rule there in Parliament, Musa? I don't know if Douglas is struggling to come back, but when he's back here, we shall continue. But Musa.
Thank you, Miriam. As far as that is concerned, the BBI seeks to have for every man senator, there shall be a woman senator, Miriam. And just to put that into perspective, Miriam, is that and even when a woman vies for that position, if she becomes the second best, she becomes the runner-up, then she's nominated, Miriam. That has a lot of, adoption and has a lot of, processes to take. But I believe it's a positive addition and it can do something, Miriam. But what we are forgetting here also is that the problem has been persisting on how the policies favoring women in this country, Miriam, has been chartered. I would like to speak about the United Nations Resolution 1325 on women and peace and security, which was adopted on 31st of August 2000, Miriam. The resolution reaffirms the important role of women in prevention and resolution of conflicts, peace negotiations, peace building, peacekeeping, humanitarian response, and in post-reconstruction, and stresses the importance of their equal participation and full involvement in all efforts and maintenance of peace. I'm speaking about this, Miriam, in the sense of what happened in 2007, 2008, where a good number of our mothers, Miriam, turned out to be victims of post-election violence, Miriam. And when you come back to that, in 2022, God forbid, there shall be no violence. But I'm seeing a higher rate of women being abused in political seats, Miriam. There shall come a time, it has happened in the past, whereby there's been abuses, sexual and, tarnishing and defamations here and there. Whatever we are lacking here at the communal ground or at the lower ground, Miriam, is the aspects and the true imagination of how we can turn these internationally accredited policies, Miriam, into true, meaningful, implementable policies which can help not only the women leaders there, but helping a mother at that household at home, Miriam. Unfortunately, the women representative we have currently, they are not so conversant. They don't understand even the levels of United Nations and the levels of how women have really been appreciated. Come to my community, Miriam, when there is a case for cattle rustling, when there is a case for community fighting, usually when that kid is killed, a mother is the one who is bereaved directly, Miriam. When a child joined Al-Shabaab or she drops out of school, the person to be directly victimized and becomes vulnerable is the woman. But the same kid admitted to a university, the person to celebrate is the father. As we have a lot of a mindset which is really deteriorating, and it is really negative in our community perspective. What are the leaders doing as far as changing that narrative is concerned, Miriam? Mm-hmm. Do we really need to stand a position, even having a woman to be the deputy governor, Miriam, in this country? Those are the issues we should be seeing. But the women representative and the leaders we have in this Kenyan nation is all of them are political. They are really rubbing shoulders with their male counterparts, Miriam, instead of fighting for the micro issues happening at that level. When a conflict comes up, and I'm speaking about this from the point of view of maybe these kids joining gang groups, Mungiki, Al-Shabaab, when the kid dies or being injured, the mother is the one to be victimized, and he or she becomes emotionally very, very disturbed, Miriam. So why can't you engage the women community leaders at the level of decision-making process, Miriam? Why can't you bring them on board on those county committee on peace, county committee on conflict resolution, county committee on national cohesion and integration commission, Miriam? The role we are giving to our women is just go there and be women representative, just to go there and shout and say, women. When one is abused, go to FIDA. When one is abused, go to court. Mm-hmm. This is not the role. I think this is not even what Professor Wangari Maathai envisioned, Miriam, as long as fighting for women's space in this country is concerned. She is the first woman. She is the only black woman, as far as this world is concerned, to be the first recipient of Nobel Peace Prize, Miriam. Those are some of the precedences. You go and ask a girl at a high school or a school level, who is your champion? Professor Wangari Maathai. Why? She is the queen of trees. She empowered women through Green Belt movement. But go and ask a kid today, a girl in school or high school, who is your champion? She will be confused on choosing the women leaders who are busy shouting on these mainstream media channels, Miriam. So what we are lacking, I'm finally submitting, is the role modeling, Miriam. Mm-hmm. Do we have role models as far as this is concerned? Leave alone the issue of, the first ladies of the counties and the first ladies of the presidents. Let's come to the micro level, Miriam. Do we have a true icon, symbolizing someone like Professor Wangari Maathai, who can really inspire and push these girls forward? Do we have leaders who can fight for reproductive health bill, Miriam, in this in this legislative body of ours? The other day, the lady who is really upcoming, Miriam, is Lady Justice Mumbi Ngugi, who is really, she is from the albino community. I've seen a good number of ladies, speaking good things about her. So even President Uhuru Kenyatta, it's my humble submission. I know she never submitted to be the Chief Justice, but these are some of the issues we can take, Miriam. And you see even those who have been rejected in the society, like ladies living with albinism, those who have gone under the cut, those who have been married early, those who have dropped out of schools. You know, Miriam, we can have a policy to integrate them back into the community, Miriam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Musa. You've really mentioned an array of issues that are very important when it comes to the conversation of women and leadership in this country. And you've mentioned the issue of, when you think about a woman leader in this country, just, being nominated, given a position, and they just sit there and perhaps not say very much because we've not seen them as being very vocal there and speaking out. Even those who were elected as the women representative in all 47 counties there. And so you've also mentioned the issue of a role modeling, and I'm just wondering, sitting here as a woman, when it comes to these standards, we seem to want to hold women at a more higher standard. We want for you to be role models of our daughters. I don't know if that is the same case that applies to our male counterparts. Are we seeing a double standard there of what is expected of our women leaders as compared to what is expected of their male counterparts? Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam. We need to understand that the issue of women empowerment and also men empowerment in this country is something that is always taken out of context and also dealt with from a distance. For example, when we talk about women that can inspire others to get into leadership positions, we are not seeing that in our women representatives. BBI talks about bringing in 47 women senators in the county assembly, in the Senate. And when we see a benchmark of the last 8 or 9 years when these women have been in power, we cannot see a firm decision from the people that have been inspired. For example, it is today in the morning that I was thinking about our county women representative. I have never seen her do a mentorship program for young girls and young professionals that would want to join politics or join advocacy for the youth and also women rights. I have never seen her except when she's moving around doing things that deprecate the roles of members of county assemblies and also not county assemblies, national assemblies, and also national government, like Musa was saying. We have never seen a clear affirmative action from these women to empower women and also from our male counterparts. For example, if today I have political ambitions, what my MP can do is to get dirty and also to discourage me and also discourage me from doing the same. It is not fair to say that these people have been able to be the clear mirror that we can be able to see, especially in the National Assembly or in the Senate, because they are filled in their role to be able to inspire the next generation of leaders. In this country, we think about the election that is coming rather than the next generation. And remember, the leaders that are present today cannot hold our key to the future. The key is in our young population. The key is in the young generation that will be inspired by our leaders. We have not seen what we see Murang'a women representative Sabina Chege doing in Murang'a County. We have not seen that replicated in Isiolo. She has been moving around through women and also young girls groups, empowering them and talking to them and engaging them in conversations about their future and also their roles as leaders of tomorrow. We have not seen that affirmative action that they are elected and also sent to parliament to do. So I hope that the next generation of leaders can now be able to embrace others, can create opportunities for other people, so that we will move from politics of antagonism and also politics of discouragement to politics of encouragement and also politics of unification, where we can now be able to embrace young people and also young girls and empower them. Because what I can be able to see clearly from my heart is to see that these young girls cannot be able to count on our women representatives, even when they are made women senators. Because, Miriam, we have not seen that clear path of women empowerment clearly understated in the constitution, and also when they are taken to parliament, they don't go to do those things. We see them competing with governors, they want to become governors. We see them competing with young people, they want to outrun the young people and continue staying in power. So I hope that women will take this opportunity, especially on this International Women's Day, and embrace the girl child, the boy child will be embraced by both the women and also the men in parliament, and also build there in our family, so that we can be able to hold the hand of a young person and take them forward as a country, so that we can have a future or a mirror that we can be able to see in our leaders and say, this is where we want to take the next generation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Very well said there, Douglas Kirimi, all the way from Meru County. We've been having a bit of a problem with his signal, but he finally he got some better reception there. Thank you so much, Douglas, for that. Now, when the BBI Task Force Committee was collecting views, women and girls in this country said that they felt excluded and marginalized, particularly in elective politics. Are these views founded, Javan?
Miriam, let me say yes, and to some point say women are not really excluded. What we have is women sometimes not knowing their role in it comes to elective position. You know, they have made to believe that they belong to the nomination. They belong to the nomination slots, and men should go for the higher positions. Therefore, I think with the right empowerment and awareness and advocacy, women will run for this big office, Miriam. We have seen women becoming governors, Miriam. We have the Kirinyaga, the Kitui, and the late Governor Joyce Lamboso for Bomet. Yeah. Therefore, Miriam, we see a situation where, with the right mindset, with the right resources, women can go for this position and they can win. And when you look at it, Miriam, in Kirinyaga, it was a women affair. It was between Mother Karua and Anne Waiguru. Therefore, at the end of the day, women can make it. They have not been excluded. They have not been given a fair platform. And I think they feel like women should go for this position. But we have seen when they go for this position, they do an excellent job. The work that is being done by Charity Ngilu, the Kikotech textile industry in her county, is producing the uniforms for our soldiers and other uniforms to different government parastatals. Therefore, at the end of the day, women can be in this position and they can deliver change that we need as a country. Therefore, it is a matter of women stepping up, Miriam. You know, Miriam, when you wait to be empowered by men, when you want to be pulled up, Miriam, maybe, and it does not work, the best option you have is to step out, is to come out yourself. And I think now women should not rely on being empowered by men. They should come out themselves, emerge, stand out and become outstanding. And by doing that, Miriam, they will be noticed. They will go to this position. They will go to the CSS position. We have seen women who do incredible job, and they are noticed by the government and they are given positions, and they transform the institutions. And Miriam, when you go even to the private sectors, we have industries that are run by women, and they are doing very well. They are competing with giants company in East Africa. Therefore, it is a matter of women now, not really to rely on the so-called empowerment that has lost its meaning, and to step out, to have resources, to step out and compete for this position. I want to see when we go to the next general election in 2022 to have women coming out to run for this political office in the hundreds, so that Miriam will have to choose. We'll have an opportunity, Miriam, because when they remain back there in the villages, when they don't want to run for this political office, waiting for the nomination slots, Miriam, that is where we go wrong. They need to come out, run for this position, and by doing that, the issue of exclusion will come to an end. They will have, and they will come up, and nobody will say that the women are excluded, but rather, Miriam, let's say that they were denied, they were not voted in. That should be more important. But exclusion, no, they are not excluded. They have not stepped out. I think that should be the case, on my opinion.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, very well. Now, women, of course, are major beneficiaries in the Building Bridges Initiative report that has been spearheaded by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. And as I have mentioned, the numbers there and how they'll play out. And perhaps this will able to ensure that we meet the two-thirds 2/3, all right? Elusive gender rule that we've not been able to achieve as a country there in Parliament. But during this time, Musa, when the committee was walking around and seeking for views from Kenyans, our women and our girls, they said they feel very marginalized and also excluded when it comes to this elective politics. Why do you think our women feel like that?
Thank you, Miriam. I think as far as, issues of empowerment and engagement is concerned in this perspective, Miriam, you cannot be empowered politically. You can't complain that people are not electing you. You can't complain that, you are misrepresented. Our mothers cannot complain that issues of, inequality is really a problem to them when the basic things have not been achieved, Miriam. What am I meaning by this? The Kenyan economy remains vulnerable to external shocks and employment continues to be a challenge among the women, Miriam. And there is an author who put it, for instance, while over 80% of Kenyan women are engaged in smallholder farming, only 1% own land in their own right, only 1%, access less than 10% of available credit, and less than 1% of agricultural credit. In Kenya, they are saying, Miriam, women's ability to access justice system is limited by legal cost, traditional justice system, illiteracy, and ignorance of rights. Women are also disproportionately affected by HIV and AIDS, with 6.9% of the women aged 15 to 64 affected compared to 4.4% of men in the same age group, Miriam. Putting things into perspective is that we might urge women to go for these political positions. And what I see is that BBI is really giving a good number of, policies and, adjustment and improvement to them. But what I see here is that we should have institutional strengthening of women issues. Let us not be political all the time. Let us speak about appointments. Let us speak about issues of women accessing credit. How many percentage can able to access credit? How many percentage of them can own land on their own right, using and having title deeds? How many of them, Miriam, our mothers and our sisters, can manage to have a successful entrepreneurship programs which, are not run on the basis of, threats, on the basis of, someone giving you a favor? Mm-hmm. Do we have proper inheritance policies in this country? Look, Miriam Ketani, the lady who had a tussle with the Meru senator on issues of inheritance, Miriam Douglas knows that very well. I'm seeing it very hard when accessing justice in this country, women had to shout. They had to come the final day the MP has died so that she can get that media attention of knowing that she has a kid. This is not a setup, Miriam. They know the only way they can be noticed is for them to shout or for them, to strip or for them to bring something controversial. But when they are so diplomatic, no one can hear them. These are issues concerned with the rule of law, Miriam. Mm-hmm. You cannot put, yes, we have court martial, we have industrial court, we have justice court, we have constitutional court. Miriam, can we have women court, whereby issues of inheritance, issues of credit handling, issues of agricultural, land success can be really mitigated? When all these basic things are done, then that is the time we can prepare our mothers and sisters for leadership position, Miriam. Mm. Women issues should be bottom up. It should never be up bottom, Miriam. I submit.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much. And while we when I started the show and I was going through what some of the issues that were raised to the committee when they were gathering the views of Kenyans, and to correct this, after the women had given their opinion there and a wide range of other issues, women have made the following proposals. So these are the proposals that our women gave to the committee, they're the BBI. And I'll go to B and C, ensuring the executive structure of the country adheres to the 2/3 gender rule and creation of a strict monitoring system in the implementation of the 2/3 gender rule and execution of sanctions for non-compliance. Will this go a long way in addressing the issue of gender balance in this country? Douglas.
Thank you, Miriam. We need to understand that the issue of gender balance in this country we have had women who have told us that what a man can do, a woman can be able to do. And also we need to be able to, when we are addressing the issue of gender balance in this country, we need to be very conscious of the fact that women are very competitive in this country. For example, if I have a degree, a woman that is competing with me on the same position, they have a master's and they are going for their PhD. So generally, we need to sit down as a nation or maybe have these conversations that addresses these issues squarely. Women are no longer marginalized the way we thought before. I think we need to be able to come to a point where we can now be able to say that at this kind of, there's this kind of level of marginalization that women are experiencing in our country. Because I can tell you for free, there are men that are in that National Assembly that cannot compete on the same, in matters issues, on the same plane with the Honorable Miri Odhiambo, with Grandes Wanga, and Sabina Chege, and others in that National Assembly and also Senate, Miriam. What we need to understand is that when women play the card of marginalization and also gender parity in this country, what they do is to use that to their advantage. What we need to do is to bridge the gap. Bridging the gap is also making sure that the rural women that are always marginalized and also marginalized that or also equal to children are also brought to the table and also made sure that whether you are educated, whether you are not educated.
So you agree that there is some marginalization there, because you started by saying...
Yes, I agree, Miriam. I agree, but we cannot say that that generally speaks about women. When this term women marginalization is used, it is misused, Miriam. Because, for example, today, if I'm articulating gender issues and I'm about women and all that, Miri Odhiambo beat me hands down. But Miri Odhiambo can articulate more than that woman in rural Kenya that is being marginalized, that government services cannot get to them, that have to bribe their way in. When they want to take their children, they are marginalized. When they want to do anything, they are marginalized. Everywhere they are marginalized. We need to be able to bridge that gap. And as a nation, we need to also move away from that issue of generalization of this marginalization. Because, Miriam, when we put it in general terms, there are women that are capable of, for example, to them, Charity Ngilu ran for president in 1997 when the repressive Moi regime was in power. If Charity Ngilu runs the same energetic campaign he ran in 1997 when I was coming of age, even before I went to school, I was a young boy, I think 5 years old. If he ran that campaign today, I can tell you he can set all the people in politics home in the morning, and there's nobody will be talking about women and the gender issues in terms of the presidential race. So, Miriam, this issue of addressing gender issues in this country has come to a very tricky point. Whereas we are talking about gender issues, there are women that have advanced and also fought for their own spaces. They have been able to entrench themselves in the system. What a woman can do, what a man can do, a woman can do. Philosophy has sunk and also worked for these men. Men that have competed with women like Miriam know exactly what I'm talking about, because they know that it has to take a fight for them to go down or women to go down. But at the end of the day, I speak for the rural women. I speak for the marginalized slum women. I speak for the young girls in rural Kenya, in slums of Kenya, where their voices are stifled, where they cannot be able to move. And we need to understand that registration alone cannot be able to bring this Miriam to fruition, because Miriam wanted to take the route of registration was delayed until Parliament was almost dissolved. Almost the president, the former chief justice wrote to the president to dissolve Parliament, because Miriam, we need to take this as a corrective responsibility. There is no amount of registration that can be able to bring equality to women and men, that can be able to solve the issue of gender parity in our country. Because, Miriam, we need to understand that very clearly. There are people who want to sabotage the issue of human empowerment and also the correction of gender parity in our country. Because, Miriam, there are people who are not happy when women are advanced. But we know very well. I told my mother today, I appreciate her role and everything she has been doing in the society. Because when you empower a woman, you empower a community. So, men, it is the high time as a country, men and also young boys, everyone who come on board and we deal with these issues. Because, Miriam, legislation alone cannot be able to solve this. What had to take Parliament, they refused to do it, and they said that men and women should compete on the same plane, and they refused to entrench that when they were supposed to be entrenching it from Parliament, until it had to take the hand of the says to write to the president, and the president has now brought it together in the BBI so that we can be able to bring it forward and also solve these issues as we move as a nation, Miriam. It is the high time we solve this juggernaut once and for all, because we have been feeding it and it is growing day by day, Miriam. Thank you.
Okay, very well said. Douglas Kirimi, what a man can do, a woman can do better. But, you know, our women and girls are still saying they feel that they've been marginalized when it comes to elective positions. So we also expect the society to hear that. You know, thank you so much, Douglas Kirimi from Meru County. Thank you, Musa Abdi Haji, and thank you, Jevan Karanja from Nanyuki. Now, I'll just recap very quickly because a lot of Kenyans do not understand what are the changes that will affect women and their numbers there, or that will address the gender inequality that is now present in our parliament, how that works. So I'll just read that very quickly so that you're able to be on the know. And the BBI proposes the country elects 94 senators. All right, with each county electing one man and one woman. That is because the 47 women representative positions have been scrapped. All right, so that will no longer be there in the parliament. And the report seeks to delete Article 98(1)(a), which pegged the numbers of senators to 47. The team further proposes the scrapping of the seats, as I have said, and 16 members nominated by political parties. In another step to cure the gender imbalance in the National Assembly, the team is recommending a 360-member House, where 290 will be elected by the people in the constituencies, and another 70 will be filled by parties. The additional 70 seats will be allocated on the strength of actual votes per county and will be distributed among youth, people with disabilities, and women. The women have a chance up to 35 of the 70 additional seats, and this will help to push up their numbers in the bicameral parliament, as they also stand a chance to grab a number of 290 constituency seats elected on first past the post basis. And I think we had that explained to us a few weeks ago by Kidi when he was joining the show. And the BBI report further proposes that in the future, governors and their deputies must be persons of the opposite sex. Women leaders have been pushing for an alternating gender in the big elective positions in both the country and National Assembly. In the last election, only a handful of governors appointed deputies from the opposite sex, and that includes Salim Mvurya of Kwale, Granton Samboja of Taita Taveta, Samuel Tunai of Narok, Paul Chepkwony of Kericho, the late Joyce Laboso of Bomet, Charity Ngilo of Kitui, Kivutha Kibwan of Makueni, Stephen Sang of Nandi, Francis Kimemia of Nyandarua, and Anne Waiguru of Kirinyaga. And it's quite interesting. All those counties I've mentioned, they all have opposite gender as their deputy, but we never really hear much of them. Are you surprised that you're learning some of these counties, their deputies are women, especially outside of the ones that the governors are women? We know their deputies are men, but these other ones are, they do have women as their deputy governors, but we don't see them speak a lot. So that is also something that we should, think about. Thank you so much. As I had mentioned there earlier, today is International Women's Day, and it is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating gender parity, and that's why it was important for us to highlight some of the things that have been included in the BBI that touches on the women and leadership and representation in the country. My name is Miriam Ogutu. I shall be back very shortly with Diaspora Dispatches, where we shall be looking at the news across the continent of Africa and also look at the issues around South Sudan. We started this conversation yesterday. We shall continue it today. Thank you for watching.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.